Hey, thank you for checking out Chris's Texas Sports Podcast. I'm Chris, by the way. Today is to look at the 2024 Sam Houston State Bearkats football team. We'll look back at the San Antonio Riders of the WLAF. That's the World League of American Football. Sports in Texas in 1963. Texas Olympic legend Michael Johnson. A short history of the Bluebonnet Bowl game. A short history of the Astro Arena. And some Texas sports news. The Sam Houston State Bearkats football team went 3-9 last year in their first season in Conference USA. Casey Keeler is back for his 11th season in Huntsville. Coach Keeler led the Bearkats to the 2020 FCS National Championship. Their recruiting class this year got a grade C. Now they have a C rating at quarterback, a B rating at running back, a rating between A and B for their receivers and tight ends, and just below C for their offensive line. Now on their defense, they get a B for their line, also a B for their linebackers, and between A and B for their secondary. Dave Campbell's Texas football put their spotlight on running back Noah Smith. The Bearkats go down to Houston to play Rice to start the season on August 31st. And then they welcome Hawaii to Huntsville for their first home game on September 14th. Then welcome New Mexico State to Huntsville for the Conference USA opener on September 21st. The Bearkats are picked to finish 5th in the Conference USA. DCTF, Dave Campbell's Texas football, said the best they could be this year is 9-3. The worst they could be is 3-9. On Friday, the Texas State Bobcats. Okay. The San Antonio Riders played in the World League of American Football from 1991 to 1992. The Riders played at Alamo Stadium in 1991 and at Bobcat Stadium in San Marcos at Southwest Texas State in 1992. Future Cowboys quarterback and coach Jason Garrett and pro wrestler JBL John Bradshaw Layfield played for the Riders. The Riders were coached by Mike Riley. He later coached at Nebraska and Oregon. Okay. Here's some things that happened in sports in Texas in the year 1963. Texas lost to LSU 13-0 in the 1963 Cotton Bowl game in Dallas. I watched the highlight film of that on YouTube yesterday. Anyway, the Longhorns, coached by Darrell Royal, finished 1962 ranked number 4 in both polls. The polls were voted on before the bowl games. The 1963 Houston Colt 45s had a 66-96 record for 9th place in the National League. Don Nordebart pitched the first no-hitter for the Colt 45s. The Colt 45s, in that game, the Colt 45s beat the Philadelphia Phillies 4-1 on May 17th at Colt Stadium. Hal Witchick was an NL All-Star reserve. John Bateman led the team in home runs with 10. Al Spangler led the team in batting average at 282 and stolen bases at 5. When the pitchers, Turk Farrell led the team in wins with 14. Bob Bruce and Hal Brown both led the team in strikeouts as they both had 60 strikeouts each. They had the 1963 PGA Championship in Dallas, and it was won by Jack Nicklaus, and I think that was his first tour win, from what I read. The 1963 Texas Longhorns football team won the school's first national championship. Longhorns tackle Scott Appleton won the Outland Trophy, and earned All-American honors. Other players on the team were quarterback Duke Carlisle, Ernie Coy Jr., and Tommy Nobis. The 1963 Baylor Bears football team beat LSU in the Bluebonnet Bowl in Houston. The Bears finished second in the Southwest Conference. The 1963 SMU Mustangs football team lost to the Oregon Ducks football team in the Sun Bowl game at El Paso. The Mustangs finished in a tie for sixth in the Southwest Conference. The 1963 Prairie View A&M Panthers football team were the Black College National Champions. The 1963 Oilers had a 6-8 record for a third in the AFL East. They failed to make the playoffs for the first time. They had made after playing in the first three AFL championship games, winning in 1960 and again in 1961, and losing in 1962. The 1963 Dallas Cowboys had a 4-10 record, and they were fifth in the NFL East. Michael Johnson from Dallas competed in 3 Olympics: 1992 in Barcelona, 1996 in Atlanta, and 2000 in Sydney. He won 1 gold medal at Barcelona as part of the 4x400 meter relay team. He won 2 gold medals in Atlanta, first in the 200 meters and again in the 400 meters. And he won 1 gold medal in Sydney in the 400 meters. The Bluebonnet Bowl game in Houston was played from 1959 to 1987. It was played at Rice Stadium from 1959 to 1967, and then again from 1985 to 1987. It was played in the Astrodome from 1968 to 1984. During that time, it was referred to as the Astro Bluebonnet Bowl. Number 11, Clemson won the first Bluebonnet Bowl game over number 7 TCU. In the first game in the Astrodome, number 16 SMU beat number 15 Oklahoma. The game usually had the school that finished second or sometimes third in the Southwest Conference playing an at-large team. I remember Baylor playing there a few times in the 80s. The last Bluebonnet Bowl game was in 1987 when Texas beat number 18 Pittsburgh. It was seen on CBS, ABC, ESPN, the USA Network, and syndication and other networks. There wouldn't be another bowl game in Houston until the year 2000, when the first Houston Bowl game was played in the Astrodome, before it moved over to NRG Reliance Stadium, now NRG Stadium, after it opened in 2002. That continued until 2006, when the Texas Bowl started up. Okay, the Astro Arena in Houston opened in 1974 next to Astro Hall on the Astrodome grounds. The Houston Angels of the Women's Basketball League played there in the late 70s. The Houston Hotshots of the World Indoor Soccer League played there in the late 90s, early 2000s. Rice used it as their basketball arena in the 2007-2008 season, and I guess their volleyball arena too. The Houston Comets played their final years there as a WNBA team. They had a WCW Brawl Brawl pay-per-view there in 1993. They had a episode of WWE SmackDown in 2005. When I was in the third grade, they took us to the livestock show in 1979. One of the events we saw at the livestock show was a horse show in the arena. They had a horse named Shocker competing. As they started building Reliant Stadium, they renamed it Reliant Arena in 2000. And after Reliant Stadium became NRG Stadium, it was renamed NRG Arena in 2014. Well, the Astros and Rangers made trades as the trade deadline neared in Major League Baseball. The Astros traded pitcher Jake Bloss, outfielder Joey Luperfido, and minor league prospect Will Wagner to the Blue Jays for pitcher Yusei Kikuchi. They also got pitcher Caleb Ferguson from the Jays for pitcher Kelly Alston and $75,000 in international bonus money. That's not going over too well, from what I've heard. I'm not too sure about it myself. Bloss was one of their top prospects, and Luperfido was getting to be kind of a favorite of mine. Anyway, the Rangers made some deals too. They traded pitcher Michael Lorenzen to the Royals for pitcher Walter Pennington, and then they traded some minor leaguers to the Tigers for catcher Carson Kelly. GM Chris Young is not optimistic that rookie center fielder Evan Carter will be back this season. Well, the Texans start the preseason tomorrow night when they play the Bears in the Hall of Fame game in Canton. And then on Saturday, Texans legend Andre Johnson will be the team's first enshrinee in Canton when he is enshrined in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. He was honored by the Astros last night before their game with the Pirates. At the Cowboys camp in Oxnard, they moved cornerback Trayvon Diggs to the active list. He had been on the PUP list physically unable to perform list going into camp. Well, that's going to do it for now. My name is Chris Carlisle, and in case you wondered, as far as I know, I'm not kin to Duke Carlisle, who was on the Texas in 1963 National Championship team. You can hear my podcast on Spreaker, Spotify, and iHeart. Be sure to hit the download button, leave a like and rating, and subscribe. Until then, I'll see you on Friday.